President Bill Clinton facing his biggest challenge since leaving the White House, a major health problem.
Hundreds paid tribute to a fallen Phoenix police officer, from fellow officers to complete strangers.
It always just touches our hearts, you know. We just want to be out here just showing support.
The rain has started to fall and the wind picking up as Hurricane Francis closes in on Florida. We'll take you there live.
Gunfire and smoke. This is not a battlefield in Iraq. It's a school in Russia.
This is Arizona's best. Fox 10 News at 5.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Troy Hayden and for John Hook.
And I'm Carrie Lake. We begin tonight with a Fox 10 weather alert.
Hi everybody, Dave Muncie in the Weather Center. A severe thunderstorm warning for east central Maricopa County has been issued by the National Weather Service until 5:45 this afternoon. This severe thunderstorm warning includes the cities of Tempe, Chandler, Ahwatukee, and Guadalupe at this time. Dense blowing dust is possible with this severe storm. In fact, visibilities could be reduced to 0. We have seen just a few sprinkles, but we have seen a little dust in the East Valley already with the system. Once again, a severe thunderstorm warning for east central Maricopa County, this including the cities of Tempe, Chandler, Ahwatukee, and Guadalupe until 5:45 this afternoon. We'll have more information as needed and a complete report on this storm coming up in the weather segment of this program.
Dave giving us the information, and these are some of the pictures of the East Valley from Sky Fox.
Looking out to the east, we saw a lightning strike there. Again, much of the East Valley, especially the Southeast Valley, under this thunderstorm warning. Sky Fox will stay in the air for us, and we'll bring you the pictures of this storm as it moves into the valley.
Well, the news seemed to come out of nowhere. Former President Bill Clinton is in the hospital, and doctors want to perform surgery on him as soon as possible. It's a heart problem. Stephanie Sandoval joins us live. She's in Fox News Central with the latest. Steph.
Well, the latest, Carrie, is that Bill Clinton did not suffer a heart attack, but he will undergo bypass surgery, as you mentioned. He turned 58 2 weeks ago, and his wife Hillary spoke outside the hospital that he has been admitted to just about 30 minutes ago, and she said that surgery will take place sometime early next week.
Clinton will spend the night in a New York hospital awaiting bypass surgery. He went to the hospital yesterday complaining of chest pains and shortness of breath, but initial tests came back normal.
So he spent the night at home, and we talked through the day, and he said he felt fine and not to worry.
But after returning to the hospital today for more extensive testing, an angiogram showed blockage in his heart arteries.
They did advise him to have bypass surgery and to do it as soon as he could.
During his 2 terms as president, Clinton was known for his love for jogging and fast food. But during his recent biography release, he talked about his noticeably thinner physique.
I work out a lot, and I went on the South Beach diet for a while. That helped. But the combination, I have a wonderful man who comes in 2 or 3 times a week, and we work out. You know, when you get older, you got to really watch it.
Unfortunately, doctors say damage can be done years before heart problems ever develop. But the good news is bypass surgery, though major surgery, is common. Statistics show close to 500,000 bypasses are performed every year.
I think the lesson, and I think the lesson for everybody, is that heart-healthy habits are good for everyone, including presidents and ex-presidents.
Now, at the onset of my report, I did tell you that Hillary Clinton spoke outside the hospital today. She spent much of the afternoon with her husband, and here's some of what she had to say.
I'm just so pleased that he's in such good spirits, and obviously we're in one of the great hospitals in the world with a superb medical staff.
Now, once Clinton does undergo that surgery, we're told that he'll spend about a week in the hospital, maybe a little bit less. Then he'll return home for a couple of weeks to recover. Sometimes it can take up to a couple of months. It might put a cramp in some of his plans to campaign with Kerry, but we'll just have to wait and see for that. He will fully recover in all expectations. This is, like we said, a rather common procedure, Kerry.
Stephanie Sandoval with some of the more surprising news of the day. Thanks, Steph.
Both President Bush and Democratic challenger John Kerry are wishing the former president well.
He is in our thoughts and prayers. We send him our best wishes for a swift and speedy recovery.
But every single one of us wants to extend to him our best wishes, our prayers, and our thoughts. And I want you all to let a cheer out and clap that he could hear all the way to New York, all the way to New York.
Now, we touched on it a bit, but coming up at 5:30, we talked to a Valley heart doctor about that surgery that former President Clinton is now facing.
A somber day as one of the 2 Phoenix police officers killed this last weekend is laid to rest. Officer Jason Wolf and Eric White were gunned down while searching for a shooting suspect. Today, people paid their final respects to Officer Wolf. We have team coverage beginning with Keith Yaskin, who's live outside of police headquarters tonight. Keith.
Carrie, today all about images you don't soon forget. It could be something as simple as the program from the service or the flag behind me at half-staff. But the most powerful image is certainly from the funeral service this morning.
God, we gather here to honor and give thanks for the life of Jason.
Almost 2,000 people attend the funeral service of Jason Wolf, one of 2 Phoenix police officers whose lives Saturday were cut short.
Jay, my buddy, I just want to let everyone know here what a wonderful person you are.
Inside Shepherd of the Valley Lutheran Church, where Jason Wolf was baptized, 1,200 people listening and coping, some standing. Among them, a trembling Phoenix mayor.
That love is precious and life is so fragile.
Outside, another 600, and officers walking from blocks away, and a never-ending row of motorcycles. Phoenix Police Commander Kim Humphrey.
It's uplifting at a time like this to know that deep down people really do care and that they're out showing that kind of support.
Afterward, those motorcycles start both their engines and the procession. Jason Wolf's academy class from 4 years ago standing together, a group that spent 16 weeks of their lives together. Officer Joe Sequest with a heavy heart.
What we do every day when we put on our badge and we put on our belt and we go on the streets, we all know what can happen.
Yes, Jason Wolf was baptized at that church, but that church also has a satellite office where police officers in that area will go there and write reports. Jason Wolf would go there and write reports. He has 2 major connections to that church, 2 major reasons it was held there today, Carrie.
And to think we have another officer being buried tomorrow. Thank you, Keith.
The church only part of the service, another touching part at Officer Wolf's final resting place. A powerful and somber sight as hundreds of Valley law enforcement officers salute one of their own, killed while trying to protect others. You can see Officer Wolf's family holding each other's hands for comfort and bowing their heads in prayer. Then the traditional gun salute. From Sky Fox this morning, you get a better view of just how many lives Officer Wolf touched, all gathering under those tents to pay their last respects. And finally,
well, many people who didn't know Officer Wolf lined the sidewalks to say goodbye in Phoenix. Diane Ryan has the story from 7th Avenue and Glendale.
Wardina McCarthy and her son Tristan wave and blow kisses as the hearse carrying Officer Wolf's coffin passes them by on Glendale Road. They did the same for all the officers following behind.
I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. I see the love of the department. Yeah, I'm very overwhelmed.
This is what it looked like from Sky Fox as the procession snaked its way from Shepherd of the Valley Lutheran Church on 15th Avenue in Maryland to Phoenix Memorial Park on Central Avenue and Beardsley.
For a lot of citizens who couldn't get inside the church, this was their way of saying goodbye, standing on the street corner and waving.
This man saluted. Others held their hands over their hearts as the funeral procession passed.
It's sad. It's really sad. So we thought we'd pull over and just have a little respect and watch him go by.
None of these mourners on the corner of Glendale and 7th Avenue knew Officer Wolf or his family. It didn't matter.
It always just touches our hearts, you know. We just want to be out here just showing support.
They'll be out again tomorrow for Officer White's funeral. Diane Ryan, Fox 10 News.
The second officer killed Saturday is also being remembered at this hour. A visitation for Officer Eric White is going on right now until 8 p.m. at Shadow Mountain Mortuary. His funeral will be held tomorrow morning at 10. It will be at the Phoenix First Assembly of God Church.
The 5th police officer shot this week. Numbers are startling, really. Well, he's recovering from surgery to remove bullets from his shoulder and his leg. 36-year-old LaRon Sims allegedly shot him 3 times. One of the bullets hit the officer's chest, but protective gear saved him. Police say Sims opened fire on Officer Matt Morgan after getting pulled over for a bad license plate near 7th Avenue in Buckeye yesterday. Officer Morgan fired back at Sims, then called for backup. Sims was hit also and is in serious condition tonight.
New at 5, a man is shot and killed while inside a van, and right now there's an all-out search for the shooter. It happened at this apartment complex near the corner of 27th Avenue and Bethany Home Road. Police said the driver of this van and his passenger stopped and had an exchange of words with the man who was walking in the parking lot.
Next thing you know, just pop, pop, pop. He still had the gun out as I was getting in my pickup, and when I seen that gun, I just unlocked the door and jumped in.
Shot the passenger twice, one hitting him in the head and killing him instantly. The suspect then ran southbound, jumped over the wall here.
There's an intense search going on right now in the area for the shooter. Police did not recover his gun.
Fox 10 weather alert: a huge storm, Hurricane Francis, closing in on the east coast of Florida at this hour. Hurricane warning extends from just north of Daytona Beach, all the way to the south of Miami. The rain has already started to fall in places like West Palm Beach. Francis is still packing winds of 115 miles an hour, and those winds could get stronger. More than 2.5 million people have been told to evacuate. For the latest, let's go live to
Troy and Carrie, that's right. 2.5 people was the largest evacuation in Florida state history. In our area specifically here in the Florida Central Coast, in Melbourne, Florida, just in this area, Melbourne, Palm Bay, there are roughly 170,000 people. According to the police force here, they believe 75% of those people have evacuated the area, getting away from this hurricane. A hurricane that's not here yet, but it'll be here soon. Slowly and methodically, Hurricane Francis batters the Bahamas while tormenting the state of Florida. More than 2.5 million people, the largest evacuation in state history, have been ordered to leave coastal and low-lying areas as the Sunshine State braces for its second major hurricane in just 3 weeks.
The last one we had 3 weeks ago was made you a little bit nervous, but this one here is a big one. It's time to get out.
Satellite images show a storm the size of Texas, its outer bands already brushing coastal areas. Palm trees beginning to bend with the wind, seas rougher as the calm before the storm ends.
We still don't know exactly where landfall will be, and we don't know whether or not the storm will strengthen.
Governor Jeb Bush also confirms in several parts of the state curfews are now imposed from dusk till dawn. Authorities warning those that stay, if the wind doesn't affect you, floodwaters might. Troy, we had a chance to monitor the wind here throughout this afternoon and early evening. Our strongest gust was 26 miles an hour. We had sustained winds 15 to 20 miles an hour over an hour-and-a-half period, but they've died down a bit. However, now late tonight, they're starting to pick up again. Troy?
And Adam, looks pretty dark behind you there. Are there any people around, or are people pretty much cleared out from where you are?
Most people have cleared out, but believe it or not, some people are staying on their boats out here. They shut off all the power, but they're going to watch the football game with a generator over here, and they invited us to go over to their boat. So there are some people that are having some humor with this, although it's a very serious situation.
Sure, taking some big chances. All right, Adam Housley, thank you.
Some people in Rivera Beach have a message for Hurricane Francis on the plywood. They spray painted the words "Go away." Doesn't look like that'll be happening, though. Some businesses even putting up warnings to looters, threatening to execute them. Everyone is bracing for Francis right now. Dave Muncie's tracking the storm. He joins us live in the Weather Center. We got a little bit of weather here in Maricopa County, but this storm in Florida is huge.
We have some weather here. We're going to look at that in just a moment. It is a huge storm, but there is a silver lining to that cloud that you saw behind the reporter there just a moment ago, and that is that they have downgraded this storm to a Category 2 with maximum sustained winds at this time of now 102 miles or 105 miles per hour maximum sustained winds. As you can see, the outer bands are starting to reach into Florida at this time, and as you take a look at it with those maximum winds at 105 105 miles an hour. Early Saturday is when they expect it to hit. That could be at 2 or 3 in the morning as it starts rolling in. And then, as you can see, the path widens from there, and it could find itself with a lot of moisture up into areas of the southeast. Now, we did mention that we do have a storm here in Maricopa County at this time. Get a look at a shot looking east into Mesa now. This from Sky Fox with that live weather. You can see there's a pretty good storm out there. On the radar, you can see that is a fairly good storm. We've had a little bit of development here over the last hour or so. The National Weather Service has a severe thunderstorm warning for east central Maricopa County. This until 5:45, including Tempe, Chandler, Ahwatukee, and Guadalupe. We'll have a clearer look at this storm in just a few minutes.
Fox 10 News is just getting started. Coming up.
The Arizona Red Cross is sending people to Florida to help deal with the aftermath of Hurricane Francis. We'll have more on that at 5:30.
Children stripped down to their underwear running for their lives as a hostage crisis at a Russia school takes a very deadly turn. The unimaginable has happened here. We're going to have the story.
Both the Cardinals and the Sun Devils win on the same day. When the last time that's happened? We'll take another look at both games.
An Arizona mother arrested because of what she allegedly did to her own son. That story's coming up at 5:30.
Fox 10 News brought to you in part by Arizona Ford. See your Arizona Ford dealers.
The Ford Freedom Sale is here.
Back live, it's Fox 10 News.
A 3-car pileup near Hamilton High School in Chandler this morning. One car landed on top of another. The accident sent a 17-year-old girl to the hospital, and a 35-year-old man was airlifted to Scottsdale Memorial Hospital. A 6-year-old girl and a 40-year-old woman were both treated and released. No word, though, on what caused this accident.
A horrible terrorist standoff ends in Russia today, taking the lives of more than 200 people, including dozens of innocent children. It all started when Chechen rebels stormed a school on the first day of classes 3 days ago. A Russian reporter is there to witness the beginning of the end of the standoff. Within minutes, hundreds of terrified children, stripped to their underwear because of the stifling heat in the gym where they were held, come running out of the school. Many gulped water because they had been denied anything to drink for more than 2 days. Some parents who were held are barely conscious as they're taken out. Many others didn't make it through the standoff. Commandos stormed the school after the Chechen terrorists detonated 2 powerful bombs and gunned down children as they tried to run from the scene.
This operation hasn't been launched by the Russian authorities. They hope to drag it out. What's happened now is clearly a disaster. We've got a lot of dead people.
This terrorist operation aimed at innocent children is being called the most horrific yet, carried out by Chechen militants who want independence from Russia. More than 500 people are hospitalized after this standoff, nearly 300 of those children. 27 Chechen militants were killed.
The old component will be stowed inside that container.
It's called a walk, but it's certainly no walk in the park. We've got some amazing spacewalk video for you coming up.
And it may look like just a statue, but to a lot of people, this means much, much more. The incredible story of this statue's creation coming up.
And we told you about those thunderstorms heading up into the valley. This is over the Salt River Pima Indian Reservation just south of Ahwatukee. You can see a decent dust storm, and earlier we saw a nice cell with some big rain coming down. So these storms are moving into the valley. We'll tell you more about them coming up.
This burger's delicious. What's your secret?
Just get smart.
Smart & Final has everything for your barbecue, all at low warehouse prices. These cookies are tasty. Max likes them too.
He should. There is treats, Phil.
Smart & Final, the smaller, faster warehouse store.
Glamorous.
Living rooms, bedrooms, dining rooms.
Affordable.
Big savings now on all Thomasville furniture collections during our Labor Day sale. Every great room starts with an adjective. What's yours?
Visit any of our 3 Valley locations: Arrowhead, Scottsdale, Tempe.
I want to throw away those envelopes and pay my bills online with a click, free and guaranteed. Click, click, click. And I want branches and ATMs everywhere I look. Everywhere.
Maximum strength checking from Bank One.
Make that free ATMs. Free. And I want emails about my account. Right, just the important stuff. You should just say, I want the maximum. I want the maximum too. Honey, my maximum has more than your maximum. My maximum makes your maximum look minimum.
Free checking and thousands of ATMs. Maximum strength checking. Only from Bank One.
weather alert right here in our own backyard. This is a storm, dust storm, and we've seen a lot of rain actually from this thunderhead moving into the valley. This one moving actually into the Salt River Pima Indian Reservation, moving towards Scottsdale.
You can see that line there. I assume that's Pima Road, and you can see the dust storm moving into kind of the eastern part of Scottsdale there. But we see some dust here, and we saw some pretty big rain clouds earlier. So again, this line of storms moving into Scottsdale from the east at this hour.
We're tracking that storm, and we'll bring you the latest as it develops over the East Valley. So U.S. troops, they've toppled several Saddam Hussein self-image statues around Baghdad. We all saw that playing out. But now the U.S. Army has turned one of those symbols of tyranny into a memorial to honor their fallen soldiers. Nearly 1,000 soldiers have lost their lives in Iraq. 1 out of every 10 of those people come from Fort Hood. In their honor, a 21-gun salute and the unveiling of a poignant statue that stands in the middle of the base. This is a photograph of one of the many statues Saddam Hussein erected of himself and U.S. troops blowing it up. The Army had the bronze melted down and recast from a statue of a tyrant to a U.S. soldier reflecting over a fallen comrade's gear.
I don't want to be cavalier about it, but it's just the nature of our business that we do, and we train so hard to do the things we have to do for the nation.
This is Ursula Priddle holding her young daughter, Katie. She was 8 months pregnant when a rocket-propelled grenade killed her husband and Katie's father. But Ursula says with pride, when her daughter grows up, she will tell her it was worth it.
I know that what he did wasn't in vain. I know that he died for a purpose and that good comes out of it, and that really helps to live with the sorrow.
Ursula says that bronze statue is also a place that she can come and remember her brave husband.
Fox 10 News is coming at you with more.
If your child packs a school lunch or you pack one for him or her, you're going to want to see tonight's story in Fox FYI.
She was all smiles when she walked out on the stage, but at 5:30, wait and see what happens to Miss Australia that had her really blushing and a little exposed to that whole crowd.
Well, of course, we've got Hurricane Francis, and we've got some stormy weather around Arizona. We'll take a look at it coming up.
Come to the grand opening this week of Las Palmas Grand, Arizona's active adult community of the year. This award-winning friendly community features a 6-acre recreational park, a 24,000 square foot clubhouse, and 14 beautiful models now priced from just $60,000. Celebrate these special grand opening prices right now at Las Palmas Grand. Take the Superstition Freeway to Ellsworth Road and go south 1 mile or call 480-380-3000.
Now, Fox 10 weather with Dave Muncy.
We have a little storm activity picking up in the Scottsdale area. You can see the dust really starting to blow out there as we get some of that wind picking up. So we're getting it from the East Valley, the Northeast Valley. This is a wind advisory until 7 o'clock. Here's your thunderstorm warning, and this until 5:45 this evening. So we will keep our eye on it for you. Take a look here. You will see here's some of the active weather coming through, but there's still a lot of weather. Look it up in the Flagstaff area over here near Safford. Get you in a little closer here. You can see the stuff that is threatening the valley. A development from the south here. Got all that moisture and cloud cover south of us, of course, with Hurricane Howard down there. 105 for the high, 102 the norm, 112 is the record for the day. 85 was your morning low, 79 is the norm, and 64 is the record as far as the low is concerned. Look at those winds out of the southwest at 23, 101 right now, 20% on the humidity. Our dew point temperature at 53 degrees, 2959 falling barometer for you. And across the country, here's that moisture we're seeing from Howard coming up here, giving us a little shot. We have some more moisture, and it's coming through Texas, and you can see how it just runs right up to the Great Lakes. And then, of course, we have to deal with Francis over here, which is a hurricane. It is a Category 2 hurricane at this time because the winds have died down now to 105 miles an hour. Been all the way up to 145. You can see the outer bands starting to bring the moisture in to the Miami area. And in fact, do we have the video from Miami we're going to look at there? I see that some folks are out trying to enjoy this weather. That's not a real good idea. The riptides are out, and there's been a lot of warning for those riptides over the last couple of days, but there you are at 105 miles an hour. Once again, a quick look down here, and what we're dealing with, our forecast does have the possibility of a storm. 83 degrees. We have those storms pushing in with clouds. 98 tomorrow. Early and late storms are possible, so through the day tomorrow with 98 degrees. That 98 is actually going to hold on for a little bit here through the weekend. We get you back to 100 and then back into those triple digits into next week. Watch your kids around water.
Fox 10 News brings you more news stories.
We told you a little bit earlier about former President Bill Clinton in the hospital. He's needing bypass surgery. A local doctor takes us inside that procedure coming up.
Family, friends, even complete strangers file in to pay their respects to a fallen police officer.
And coming up next, we'll show you how some people here in Arizona are preparing for Hurricane Francis's arrival in Florida.
Pull up a seat for an all-new hour of incredible videos. Totally outrageous behavior and world's craziest videos.
Tonight, all starting at 8 on Fox 10.
Okay, here are the... You're watching Fox 10 News at 5.
Hurricane Francis is showing a little bit of weakness at this hour. It's been downgraded to a Category 2 storm. Winds are being clocked at 105 miles an hour. But the storm has already left a big impression in the Bahamas. At that time, 115-mile-an-hour winds pummeled the island. Plenty of rain fell there. The hurricane caused a lot of damage. The leading edge of the storm is already being felt in Florida tonight. More than 2 million Floridians have evacuated. And those brave or foolish enough to stay behind will spend the next few hours waiting and worrying. People here in Arizona, though, are doing their part to help those people. Steve Kraft is live to explain. Steve?
The Red Cross in the Valley is doing its part by sending volunteers to help hurricane victims. They'll be bringing relief and some measure of comfort in a special truck. The diesel engine isn't very quiet, but it gets the job done. And getting the job done is what this truck is all about. It's an ERV, Emergency Response Vehicle, one of 4 from Arizona going to Florida.
As the crews are on the road, they'll check in overnight with our National Operations Center in Washington, D.C., and they'll tell them if there's any diversion. Right now, they're heading for a truck stop on I-285 in Atlanta, Georgia.
The ERVs carry food in these containers for feeding lots of people. They carry water and juice, emergency supplies. There's even emergency office space.
Hi, Marie. How are you?
Meanwhile, inside Red Cross headquarters in Phoenix, calls are going out to volunteers ready to go to Florida.
We need to man the shelters, and then we need people to prepare food and take it out to people.
Kathleen Jones is one of those volunteers.
Yes, this is probably my 8th or 9th national disaster.
She knows what to expect when she gets to Florida.
The clients come in either in a shelter or in a service center under a lot of stress, very upset. Our job is to be as calm as we can to help fill their needs as fast as we can.
Some 32 Arizona Red Cross volunteers are in Florida. The Red Cross nationwide has some 200 emergency response vehicles. That adds up to a lot of help for a lot of people in Florida. Reporting live, Steve Kraft, Fox 10 News.
Firefighters worked to put out an apartment fire in Scottsdale. Skyfox overhead the Venetian condos near Via Linda and 100th Street. This fire began this afternoon and it caused a lot of damage to the roof. Firefighters are looking into what caused the fire and how much damage was done to the apartment building. Nobody was hurt.
Sheriff's deputies arrest a northern Arizona woman convicted of abusing her young son. 18-year-old Devon Trikoff was arrested for failing to appear for sentencing for a conviction of abusing and neglecting her 21-month-old son. Baby's grandmother found him alone and screaming, caught in the bars of his crib. She now is charged with felony failure to appear and is being held in the Yavapai County Jail.
30 minutes ago, public visitation service began for Officer Eric White. Officer White and Officer Jason Wolf were shot to death by a Phoenix man who barricaded himself in his apartment. That was last Saturday. Earlier today, Officer Wolf was buried during funeral services in Phoenix. Vicki Newen is live with the story tonight. Vicki.
Carrie, Officer White's family members began arriving shortly before 4 this afternoon here at the Shadow Mountain Memorial mortuary. We saw them arriving in small, hushed groups. Officer White was killed on Saturday night in the line of duty. He and his fellow officer, Jason Wolf, were both gunned down while responding to a call at an apartment complex near 19th Avenue and Northern. Officer White was on the force for 4 years, and he leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. Tonight, in addition to his family, we see his extended family, the police and fire personnel who share the bond of public service, men and women who risk their lives every day to protect our community. Phoenix Mayor Phil Gordon also stopped in to pay his respects this evening. Now, the public visitation, as you mentioned, began about half an hour ago, and it continues tonight until 8 p.m. The community is welcome to attend. Reporting live tonight in Phoenix, I'm Vicki Newen, Fox 10 News.
Fox Quick Picks flames sweep through this historic library in Germany. Inside priceless books by religious figure Martin Luther and Germany's first chancellor Otto von Bismarck. Workers formed a human chain to save at least 6,000 books there. The library houses more than 1 million books. It's unclear how many have been lost.
Oh, the dogs were everywhere. 115 dogs. Animal rescuers found all of the pets in a filthy home in Fannin County, Texas. It was so messy and bad inside, the homeowner couldn't live there. Homeowner was living out of her car in the garage. Tonight, though, she's facing animal cruelty charges.
Major troubles in northern Oregon where a freight train tumbles into a river. The engineer had just pulled out of a lumber yard at the time of the accident. No one was hurt, but the tracks will stay closed over the weekend while crews clean up the mess.
An American and a Russian go for a spacewalk today. The astronaut and cosmonaut aboard the International Space Station went outside to do some housekeeping. They added a few antennas. They replaced a worn-out section of cooling equipment. But while they were outside, no one was inside the space station, so flight controllers on Earth had to keep an eye on the orbiter's critical systems.
You're on Fox 10 News. Here's what's coming up.
George W. Bush isn't the only man from Texas who's in the race for the White House. Another presidential hopeful stopped here at Fox 10 today. He's from Texas, too, and you'll hear from him next.
And next, a Valley doctor shows us what will happen when former President Bill Clinton goes in for heart bypass surgery.
Big first win for the Sun Devils. We'll find out what Coach Cutter thinks about last night's win over the UTEP Miners. Plus, the Cardinals showed some improvement last night, and one of their new additions made a pretty good first impression. Troy Hambrick with some big runs. We'll hear from Coach Green in about 10 minutes.
Back out live to pictures from Sky Fox. We were tracking a kind of a series of thunderstorms moving into Scottsdale from the east there, and apparently we're hearing they are fizzling out a bit, at least in this area. You can see the skies have cleared up considerably.
But this storm did drop some rain and brought in some dust, so it did have some power with it. Dave Muncie is working the storm. He's monitoring it, and we'll have the latest for you as it develops. You Decide 2004, the presidential candidate from Texas in town campaigning today. But it's not who you think. It's Libertarian presidential nominee Michael Badnarik. He won his party's nomination back in May, and while he knows that he has a slim chance of winning, Badnarik feels that American voters need smaller government and more choices.
If they're going to be going to the polls in November and they are expecting to make an informed decision, they need all the facts. They need to know that they're not required to vote for the lesser of two evils, that there is a party out there based on the Constitution, individual rights, and private property that recognizes that the Constitution actually means something.
Badnarik has a campaign stop tomorrow morning at the Beefeaters restaurant. Then he heads to Las Vegas.
Former President Bill Clinton, as we told you earlier, will undergo heart bypass surgery early next week. He's in the hospital tonight. The 58-year-old had significant blockage of the arteries in his heart, according to the doctor who treated him. Well, tonight we're learning more about the procedure he's going to undergo, that bypass. Sabra Gertz is live in Fox News Central with our story. Sabra?
Well, Troy, coronary artery disease is the leading cause of death here in the U.S. Cardiologists here in the Valley say President Clinton stopped himself from becoming a statistic by reacting the right way at the right time.
A beating heart, about the size of your fist, pumping blood through small arteries to the rest of the body. But when those arteries become clogged with plaque, a buildup of fatty tissue and calcium, the blood can't get through. The blast of backup leads to a heart attack.
I think he's very lucky.
Dr. Robert Strumpf, cardiologist at Arizona Heart Hospital and Institute, routinely performs heart bypass surgery. He commends Bill Clinton for being an example of what to do.
His early tip-off
prevented more trouble down the road.
A funny pain in his chest, and the former president checked himself into a hospital, escorted by a possible heart attack. How could he know a quadruple bypass surgery was a day away?
Quadruple suggests the possibility of blockages all throughout the heart circulation, not just one area, potentially threatening his entire heart.
Tomorrow, Mr. Clinton will campaign for a lease on life.
And so what the doctors would plan to do is to bypass around this blockage by taking a vein or even an artery and sewing it to one artery and to the other to allow blood to go around.
Why Clinton? Why now?
Is it the stress of his job? Is it his lifestyle and what he eats? Was it all genetics? Was it the stress of being a president? And nobody knows for sure.
And the doctor tells us that someone like Mr. Clinton with no major troubles in his past medical history should have a quick recovery and return to a regular life expectancy. Troy, that's the good news in all this.
That is good news. Saber Grutch. It really serves as a good reminder, I think.
Yeah.
You know, if you feel that in your chest or whatever, go and get checked out.
Don't take it lightly.
Who knows what could have happened to you in another couple of months.
Well, he's getting it checked out now, and that's a good thing. Scientists saying that they're making some strides in the fight against Alzheimer's disease.
And this musician, well, he says he wants to be a news anchor of sorts, and guess what? He's going to be. We'll tell you what this is all about. Tonight's Famous on Fox.
He's not going to take your job, is he?
I'm not sure. I haven't been told.
Plus, we have a story about lunches. You probably pack your lunches for your kids. You're going to want to see this story before you pack one for them on Monday morning.
Tuesday. New findings related to the bird flu, a deadly disease. Researchers say cats can not only catch that flu, but also spread it to other cats. Researchers say the new information raises serious questions about household pets' role in outbreaks. The World Health Organization influenza chief says there's no evidence of pet cats spreading that deadly disease to people yet. The bird flu, though, killed 27 people in Asia this year alone. Human infections have been traced to direct contact with infected poultry or poultry waste. Researchers say they have made a significant breakthrough in Alzheimer's that can stop it in its tracks, possibly. Researchers out of the University of Wisconsin discovered a protein that could stop the progression of that disease. Right now, they're looking to drug companies for help to encourage the development of the protein there. Alzheimer's disease affects many brain functions, including short and long-term memory, a person's ability to reason, and deterioration of language skills. An estimated 3% of senior citizens suffer from Alzheimer's.
In tonight's Fox FYI, many kids brown bag it to school. That is, they pack their own lunch. Parents like it because they can control what their children are eating, but it does come with a potential downside. Experts say the nutritious lunch can turn dangerous thanks to bacteria. Cold foods must remain cold in order to stop the spread of bacteria, and that's where most lunches fail.
My lunch stays in my backpack until lunchtime, and then I eat it.
She's not alone. 80% of children who pack lunches store it in their locker or desk for up to 6 hours until it's eaten.
When lunches sit out at school for 2 hours or more, bacteria grow rapidly, and this puts children in jeopardy of foodborne illness.
Lose the brown bag. Instead, buy an insulated bag. It helps keep the hot foods hot and the cold foods cold. Pack cold lunches with a cold pack or put a small bottle of water in the freezer the night before. Explain to your children why trading lunches is not a good idea. And finally, make sure your children know the importance of washing their hands before they dig into their lunch. You can even put one of those moist towelettes in their lunch bag with them. They come in small packs and they can easily be added to the child's lunch bag.
Nirvana fans will get an early Christmas present in November. That's when a new 3-CD box set will reportedly be released. Features songs and a rare DVD showing the band performing at a house party back in 1987. The surviving members of Nirvana tried to release this new project before, back in 1991, but Courtney Love sued to prevent that from happening.
REM is among the artists lending their support to the new relief efforts in Africa. The band contributed exclusive material to Songs for Sudan. The money will go to the families who've been driven from their homes by violence. You can download the CD for about $15 at bignoisemusic.com.
You remember Mark McGrath and his hit, his only one, I think? Sang with Sugar Ray, right? Well, he's putting music on the back burner for the time being. The singer is signed on to host Extra, the entertainment show. He'll make his debut later on this month. McGrath still plans to tour and record. He'll just have to do it around his TV responsibilities.
Ahead on Fox 10 Sports.
The Cardinals looked impressive last night as they took on the Denver Broncos. We'll hear from Coach Green. And ASU off to a pretty good start as well as they beat UTEP last night. Coach Cutter talks about the offense. All this and more when sports returns next.
Fox Friday. Pull up a seat for an all-new hour of the most outrageous.
Hi, everybody. They have expanded the severe thunderstorm warning for the East Valley to the northeast Maricopa County now until 6:30 this evening. This is a Sky Fox shot looking at Mesa, looking to the east at Mesa. This new storm is located about 6 miles northeast of Fountain Hills at this time, so folks in that area should be aware. And of course, as we look at the radar here, a lot of the East Valley is involved in this storm, and you can see some more development just to the south of us here as well. So as we keep our eye on that, we realize there you can get another shot of it. We don't have too many frames of this particular one, but you can see there's a pretty good storm down there. So the new warning for northeastern Maricopa County until 6:30 this evening. We will keep our eye on this storm and give you more information as needed.
Now Fox 10 Sports with Richard Sines.
One last preseason game for the Cards before they start playing for keeps next Sunday. Denny Green and the boys in Denver last night, taking on Jake Plummer and the Broncos. Plummer didn't play. A lot of starters for the Broncos did not play. Different story for the Cardinals. Josh McCown in action, looking for a big gain, and he finds Kevin Casper with a 27-yard pickup right there. Even the second stringers looked pretty good. Calvin Pace forcing his fumble here. He forced 2 fumbles. This one is recovered in the end zone for a touchdown. Denny Green, he likes to see that kind of stuff. Pressure on the quarterback. Tatum Bell, the rookie for the Broncos. Big run here, but take a look at Adrian Mays coming from behind, pokes it out there. Kobe Reinhart recovers it, so the Cardinals forcing turnovers on the defensive side of the football. The running game working. Larry Kroom taking it in for a touchdown. Cardinals win it 33-21. Josh McCown talked about the first win of the preseason.
It feels good to finish that way, you know, culminate the preseason with a win. You know, like I said, from day one in the preseason, that we want to show improvement, you know, and I think we've done that every game, and now to finish it off with a win and a win on the road, you know, is good.
A couple of good signs for Dennis Green after last night's game. No major injuries for one, and it looks like running back Troy Hambrick is going to work out pretty well. Troy Hambrick with some tough running there. Take a look at that, getting the first down. You like guys that get the tough yardage. And you also like a guy that can pop it outside, get a big gain like this. Watch the stiff arm. Gains another 5-10 yards and hits another guy there. Troy Hambrick, very nice run, and Coach Green sounds happy with Troy.
Troy's going to be pretty good. You know, I think he was very solid last year on a turnaround program in Dallas. I think he's looking for a home, a right place where somebody really needs him and needs him to be that big-time player. He is a very physical player. He's got very quick feet. He can find openings, a runner. And we have to do a better job of blocking. But I think if we do that, he should be very effective as a runner.
Pretty good start for the ASU football team as well. The Sun Devils played host to the UTEP Miners in Tempe last night, and as expected, the Devils were just too big, too strong, and too fast for the Miners. Andrew Walter on the attack early, finds Terry Richardson wide open. He walks it in for the touchdown. The ASU offense had more where that came from. Andrew Walter back to pass again, looking for the end zone again. Brent Miller with the touchdown right there. Mike Price, he sees it coming. A big blowout. Jordan Palmer, the quarterback for UTEP, struggling here. Emmanuel Franklin picks it off, takes it to the house. ASU wins it 41-9. Coach Cutter still not happy with the offense, though.
You know, I just thought offensively we were out of sync all night. We just never really got in a rhythm, and we're a rhythm offense, and we never really got any good one tonight. Even though we made some plays here and there and did some things at times, I just never really thought we had it rolling on offense.
I thought it was real good, and then there was about 4 or 5 plays that were just pretty bad. But if we take those away or even make those neutral plays, score's a lot different.
And of course, you got to keep in mind, ASU just put in a new offense, a 2 tight end set. It's going to take a couple games for them to get going, but they look pretty good.
All right, thanks, Richard.
You're welcome.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Fox 10. This is your Fox Fast Forecast.
Well, take a look outside. You will see that there's still some moisture out there as we look out to the East Valley. It's breaking up a little bit, starting to thin up just a little bit there. But as you get a look at it here, you can see there's pretty good cells out there still, and a little rain to the south of us. The biggest storm's over Mesa right now and starting to move into the northeast Scottsdale area, so folks up there be aware of that. There's a little development around. We haven't taken storms out of the forecast yet, so still a chance of it. And that's probably the way it's going to be through the weekend as well.
It's going to cool things down.
Temperatures down a little bit.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Move over Janet Jackson. Miss Universe Jennifer Hawkins has a new kind of wardrobe malfunction.
You've been talking about this story, Troy. The Aussie beauty was taking part in a catwalk show in Sydney when she lost her skirt.
Oh, no.
I hate it when that happens. Her heel got caught on the skirt.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
She was a little bit embarrassed. She scampered for cover, but she then came back out and actually wasn't as embarrassed as we thought she was. I would be really embarrassed because I don't have that body.
I was going to say, she doesn't have much to be embarrassed about.
There's nothing to be embarrassed about with that body.
I heard it was planned.
Bye.
Yeah, we'll see you back here tonight at 9.
Attracted.